This is the plaintiff, Rachel Allen. She says she loaned the defendant her boat, and the careless guy didn't secure it properly to his dock, and the thing disappeared. The defendant promised to take good care of it. He sure didn't, and she's here suing him for the $500 she's definitely owed. This is the defendant, Fred Driller. He says the plaintiff stored her boat at his dock because she didn't have one and used to keep it in her backyard. Somehow the boat was stolen. She should call the cops about it and stop bothering him because he didn't steal it, and it's not his fault someone did. He's accused of banging up a boater.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says she loaned her boat to the defendant and the vessel just disappeared. But the defendant says the plaintiff stored her boat for 2 years and it was unfortunately stolen. It's the case of what the hell?
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, you are suing, I guess, your former friend, Mr. Driller, for $500, a depreciated cost of a boat of yours that he had in his care that got stolen. Tell me what happened. Why was your boat in his possession?
Yes, Your Honor. To begin with, when I first met Fred, I was in my front yard with my dog, and he was out walking. He walked by, and he asked whether I was interested in selling my boat, and I told him that no, I didn't want to sell it. I'm a native of St. James City, from a commercial fishing family, and I had a specific use for it. I wanted to go back on the bays where I remember from the 50s and 60s. But he had a friend die recently, and I felt for him for that. I said, I'll loan you the boat, Fred. So I agreed to loan him the boat. And after I agreed to loan it to him, he said, why don't you just keep it at my house? I'm on the water, and it'll be easy to get into the water, and anytime you want it, you can pick it up. So I agreed to that, and I expressed to Fred at the time my concern about its safekeeping because in my former home, I had been burglarized. Everything had been stolen from me.
So what agreement did you have with him about where your boat would be stored?
He said that he had space in his garage. He assured me that it would be safe.
Okay. So how long was your boat at his house?
About 2 years, to the best of my recollection.
Okay. Did you ever use it during those 2 years?
No, I didn't.
But the deal was that you could if you wanted to.
I could.
Okay.
Yes.
And when did you find out that the boat has been stolen?
It was on Saturday morning, the 19th
Of?
December,
Okay.
2020.
Okay.
He said that he had the boat on his dock in the back and someone had taken it. Well, I had thought it was in his garage, but what he had done is his house is on Lake Mead. He had the boat setting on top of his dock unsecured. And
how did you find that out?
He called me.
And he told
Saturday.
you?
Yes.
All right. So he tells you where it was when it was stolen, and what do?
Well, we first discussed insurance, and then we realized the deductible would have been more than the worth of the boat. And so I said, well, call the police and make a report. He said, no, don't call the police. That'll ruin the reputation of the neighborhood. And he didn't want me to.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you call the police?
Yes.
And what happened?
Yes. Well, the police came out and made a report that night. And I just feel like any reasonable person, a normal thinking person, would know that if you take a boat weighing only 110 pounds and leave it unsecured, that in a high boat traffic area, that it would be very easy to move it, to steal it.
Let me ask you, Mr. Driller, what was it that happened? Let me hear your version.
I had known Rachel because I walk around the block, Now, I asked her if she wanted to sell it because I've been in my house since 2013, and that boat's been sitting there I don't know how many years and never moved. So she told me her story that when she wants to go to Pine Island and be like when she was a child. So I said, I have the dock, you have the boat. Why don't you leave the boat on my dock? And anytime you want, you could come over and use it. You don't even have to ask me.
She says that she asked you where you were going to store it and that you and she agreed that you would store it in the garage when you weren't using it.
My garage fit that boat one night that I put it in there when Hurricane Irma came. And that boat's been on my dock for over 3 years.
That wasn't my question. My question is, what was your agreement with her?
I was leaving it on the dock anytime she wanted to use it.
Did you secure it on the dock? Did you secure it or chain it with any kind of bicycle chain or anything? Did you secure it in any way on the dock?
It was tied to the dock. There's a post.
There's only two kinds of ways to do this. You either secure it with a lock or you don't, right? So you didn't secure it with a lock, and there was no problem with that until there was. Somebody stole the boat, right? You didn't sell the boat, did you?
No,
So somebody stole the boat. So she was right. It needed to be secured. So how do you figure if you borrowed her boat, don't you have to exhibit some duty of care for it and secure it? And if you don't, isn't that on you? Aren't you supposed to return it in the condition that you borrowed it?
Welcome back to the People's Court. So is the defendant liable here because someone stole the boat from his dock, or is this just a case where the plaintiff's out of luck? Let's listen.
Your Honor, I've had 3 boats since I've owned that house. Every one of them was on the dock. The person that sold me the house with a boat. He had it on the dock.
Either way, what happened to the boat?
Somebody, I guess, pulled it in the water and stole it. It was
right. So the boat got stolen. Was it secure on the dock, or did you just leave it on the dock without securing it?
It's been on the dock for 3 years, wrapped around the boat.
Right. It's like I'm talking to my husband. It's literally like I'm talking to my husband, because he has the same happy attitude, and then he's shocked and appalled when something goes wrong. Now that's fine. There's a cost of doing business to that. If you don't want to be petrified and lock everything down all the time, which is the way I'm not going to live like that. Okay. So live like you're going to live. But then when it gets stolen, you can't say, I have no responsibility in that. No, you made the decision not to secure someone else's boat. So you're going to have to pay the lady. Now, now we're done. New it cost how much, ma'am?
$740.
And you bought it new when?
End of 2015 or beginning of 2016.
The question is, when you lose, when somebody damages or loses something of yours, it's not replacement value, Ms. Allen, that you get. What you get is the depreciated value of the item at the time it was destroyed or stolen or went poof, okay? Because you got to use it or have it or own it for 6 years. So it's depreciated value at the time of the loss. I'm going to order the defendant to pay the plaintiff, but it's not going to be $500. I'm ordering him to pay you $370. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. She doesn't get the $500 she was seeking. She gets less than that. Mr. Driller, you wanted to say something to the judge just as the case ended? What did you want to say to her?
She never said in the garage, because my wife wouldn't let me keep the boat in the garage. There's no room in my garage for her boat. She's wrong of what she said about calling the police. I said, let's see if my insurance company will pay. Let's see if your insurance company will pay. Saturday night, her other half calls me up, who does not own the boat, has nothing to do with it, and says, call the police. I said, Steve, I will call the police if the insurance company covers it. If not, I'll do something. I arranged it with your wife. I spoke to her. She agreed. He called the police. My wife has cancer, and it was stolen December 5th. There was no COVID vaccines, and she has no immune system. So I didn't want nobody coming to my house. Of course, morally, I felt I would have given her like $200 because that's all the boat was worth. But that's okay.
So I gather the friendship is kaput. All right, let's find out from Ms. Allen how she feels. What do you think, Ms. Allen? Was it really worth suing him to end this friendship over a $500 boat you don't even use?
Apparently, there was no real friendship, and it was worth it.
It was worth it. That's the important thing to you.
Yes.
You don't get what you wanted, but you do get, you win. You get some money. All right, Ms. Allen, good luck to you. Harvey, how do you feel about this?
Doug, this is a case where the defendant has to use due diligence to store the boat. It means that you cannot be negligent because this area where the boat was stored was unsecured. That's negligence. You should protect it at the very least with a lock. By not having a lock on the boat, that means that the defendant did not exercise ordinary care that someone in his position would have exercised. As a result, the boat was stolen. It was stolen directly because there was no lock, and the defendant's liable.
If your life were a movie, what scene would you watch over and over again?
If my life were a movie, okay, I've had a few victories and a few, failures and disasters throughout my life like anybody else, but there's one moment that I would want to just relive over and over and over, and I could make the whole movie about it. It lasted about 30 seconds, okay? It's when our daughter, Alexandra, won the state championship in crew for the four-person boat.
Yeah.
For rowing, rowing. And just like running along the shoreline.
Running along
It's in Bradenton, Florida, and watching the boats, and you're trying to keep up, and they're like, neck and neck, and then one pulls ahead, the other one back, and it's
all
in
the parents
doubt.
are running with them.
Right, it's in doubt till the last few seconds, then boom, they cross the finish line ahead.
Yeah,
You're
that
like,
was
oh my
something.
God, they're state champions.
That's going to do it for this session of the People's Court. We'll see you next time.